What if your soul carries the memories of a throne long forgotten? Some people walk through life with an unshakable sense that they were never meant to be ordinary. They carry a presence that commands attention, an instinct for leadership that can't be explained, and a deep connection to times they've never lived in. If you've ever felt that modern life doesn't quite match the way your soul moves through the world, you might not be imagining things. You may have once ruled a kingdom, sat on a throne, and carried the weight of an entire people on your shoulders. These signs don't just point to wealth or power in a past life. They reveal the mind and spirit of someone who once shaped history itself. 1. You carry a firm sense of authority. Some people earn respect, but others seem to radiate it without even trying. You may have noticed that people naturally look to you for guidance, even in situations where you haven't spoken a word. It's not about arrogance or control. It's a presence that can't be ignored. Whether in a workplace, among friends, or even in everyday interactions, you carry yourself in a way that commands attention. This isn't something that can be learned. It's the remnant of a past where your word was law, where decisions you made determined the fate of countless people. This sense of authority goes beyond just leadership skills. It's a deep-rooted understanding of responsibility. While others shy away from difficult choices, you step forward, not because you want to, but because you feel you must. Kings and queens of the past lived with the weight of their choices in ways few today can comprehend. Their decisions meant life or death, war or peace, prosperity or ruin. If you've always felt an inner obligation to take charge, to ensure things are done correctly, and to protect those around you, it could be because you've ruled before. 2. You have a natural understanding of politics and strategy. Without any formal training, you seem to instinctively grasp how power works. You can read people easily, sense hidden motives, and anticipate moves before they happen. It's as if you've played this game before, navigating alliances and betrayals with a sense of familiarity that others lack. Even when watching modern politics, history, or even office dynamics, you instantly understand the deeper layers at play. Rulers of the past didn't just sit on golden thrones. They were constantly surrounded by political intrigue, forced to outmaneuver those who sought to overthrow them. This required a mind that could think ahead, predict consequences, and never take things at face value. If you find yourself naturally drawn to strategy, whether in competitive games, negotiations, or simply understanding the power dynamics of any group you're in, it's possible that your soul remembers a time when survival depended on it. Perhaps you've also noticed that deception is almost impossible to pull on you. People may try to manipulate you, but you can see through it instantly. This is because, in a past life, you couldn't afford to be naive. A single misjudgment could have meant betrayal or even death. Now, even in a different lifetime, that instinct remains, a subconscious awareness that power is always shifting, and only those who understand the game survive. 3. You feel an inexplicable connection to royal artifacts and architecture. There's something about castles, thrones, crowns, and ancient palaces that stirs something deep within you. While others see them as historical relics, you feel something else, almost a memory. You're drawn to the sight of grand halls, intricate royal jewelry, and ancient insignias, as if they belong to you. The feeling isn't just admiration, it's recognition. Many who ruled in past lives don't just remember their power, they remember their surroundings. The symbols of royalty are burned into their subconscious, carrying echoes of their former identity. If you've ever stood before an ancient structure and felt a deep nostalgia, or if seeing images of royal insignias makes your heart race for reasons you can't explain, your soul may be trying to remind you of where you once belonged. 4. You have an unusual sense of responsibility for others. Most people focus on their own lives, their own problems, and their own goals. But you feel a strange responsibility for people you don't even know. You see suffering, and something inside you tells you it's your duty to fix it. This isn't just empathy, it's leadership. In a past life, rulers didn't just hold power, they carried the burdens of entire nations. The well-being of thousands rested on their decisions, and failing to act could mean disaster. If you find yourself feeling responsible for things beyond your personal life, whether it's a strong desire to lead, protect, or even sacrifice your own comfort for the sake of others, it's likely that this isn't your first time holding that weight. Even in this life, you might feel an intense frustration when things are unjust, or when people in charge fail to do their duty. It's as if your soul remembers what it means to have true responsibility, and you can't understand why others don't feel the same. This is the mark of someone who once held a throne, someone whose past existence was defined by duty, and someone whose soul still carries that unbreakable sense of obligation. 5. Time feels different to you. Most people move through life feeling like time is linear. One event follows another, and the past is behind them. But for you, time doesn't feel that simple. You may have moments where the past feels just as real as the present, as if another lifetime is overlapping with this one. Maybe you've caught yourself feeling nostalgic for an era you've never lived in, or you've had vivid dreams that don't feel like dreams at all, more like glimpses into another existence. This isn't just déjà vu, it's the remnants of a soul that has already lived and ruled. A king or queen's reign isn't just a few years of power, it's a lifetime spent making choices that ripple through history. And when a soul has carried that kind of weight, it doesn't just forget. Instead, it retains pieces of that existence, causing time to feel fractured. You may struggle with feeling out of place, as if part of you belongs to a different century. Or perhaps you have an unexplainable sense that history isn't just something you read about, it's something you've experienced firsthand. 6. You experience unusual power struggles in your life. For some reason, authority figures either see you as a threat or an ally. You might find yourself in constant power struggles, even when you're not trying to challenge anyone. Maybe bosses or teachers have singled you out unfairly, or perhaps you've always found that people either respect you instantly or try to undermine you. It's as if the presence of power follows you, even when you're not seeking it. This is common for souls that once ruled. In a past life, you weren't just another person. You were the highest authority. That kind of energy doesn't simply vanish. Instead, it lingers in the way you carry yourself, the way you react to challenges, and even the way people perceive you. Some instinctively recognize that you are different, that you hold a kind of presence they can't quite place. And for those who are insecure in their own power, this can feel like a threat. 7. Your dreams are more than just dreams. Most people dream in fragments, random images, disconnected events, things that don't make much sense. But your dreams, they feel real. Sometimes you wake up with the sensation that you've been somewhere else, not in an imaginary scenario, but in a memory. Maybe you've seen yourself walking through a palace, standing in front of a throne, or watching over a vast kingdom from a balcony. And when you wake up, the emotions linger, as if part of you hasn't fully returned to the present. This is one of the clearest signs of a soul with a royal past. While most memories fade between lifetimes, strong ones, especially those tied to power, responsibility, or life-changing events, can imprint themselves onto the subconscious. That's why some people, especially those who ruled in past lives, experience dreams that feel more like recollections. They aren't just symbols or random images. They are echoes of something real. These dreams might also be incredibly detailed, showing you places you've never seen yet somehow recognize. You might wake up feeling emotions that don't belong to your current life, grief, longing, or even the weight of responsibility that you can't explain. And in some cases, these dreams can even connect to historical events, giving you glimpses into a life that history books have long forgotten. If your dreams feel more like portals to another existence, your soul may be trying to remind you of who you once were. 8. You have an inexplicable awareness of death and legacy. Most people fear death in a general sense, but for you it's something different. You may not fear dying itself, but rather being forgotten. There is an underlying need inside you to leave something behind, to make an impact, to ensure that your existence is remembered long after you're gone. This isn't just about ego, it's about legacy. It's about the unshakable feeling that your life is supposed to mean something greater. Kings and queens didn't just live for themselves, they lived with the knowledge that their names would be written into history, that their choices would shape future generations. If you've always felt that time is slipping away and that you need to achieve something meaningful, it's likely because your soul has carried this weight before. You might even feel restless, as if no matter how much you accomplish, it's never enough. That's because in a past life you weren't just an individual, you were a symbol of an entire nation. 9. You struggle to belong in modern society. While most people accept the world as it is, you've always felt like something is off. It's not just that you dislike certain aspects of society, it's that you feel fundamentally disconnected from how things operate. You might struggle with authority, not because you dislike rules, but because you instinctively feel that modern leadership lacks the wisdom and responsibility it once had. Or maybe you find it hard to relate to people because they don't seem to understand things that feel obvious to you. This is because in a past life, you weren't just part of society, you shaped it. You weren't someone who simply followed orders. You were the one making decisions that affected entire nations. So now in this life, living as just another person might feel unnatural. You might find yourself frustrated with the way people think, the way leadership is handled, or even the way history is remembered. There's an underlying sense that things used to be different, more structured, more purposeful, more significant. 10. You feel a firm connection to destiny. Some people wander through life without direction, but not you. Even if you don't know exactly what your purpose is, you feel deep down that you are meant for something greater. This isn't just ambition, it's an unexplainable certainty that your life is part of something bigger. You may feel guided by an invisible force, as if the universe is pushing you toward something important. This is one of the strongest signs of a soul that once ruled. A king or queen's life was never aimless. It was driven by duty, fate, and the understanding that their existence held meaning beyond themselves. That awareness doesn't disappear just because lifetimes change. Instead, it lingers, pushing you toward paths that feel significant, even if you don't fully understand why. No matter how much you try to ignore it, the feeling never leaves. You are not just another person in the crowd, you carry something within you that refuses to be silenced, and that is the mark of a soul that has once worn a crown. If you have made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.